Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is a comparison between the iPhone 4 and the new HTC Thunderbolt on Verizon. Let's get to it. Okay, so a lot to talk about here, and we're going to start off with price. The iPhone 4 with a new 2-year contract is $200 for the 16GB version. If you want the 32GB version, it's $300. The Thunderbolt's actually a better value. For $249, you get 32 gigabytes of storage, which is obviously $50 cheaper than the 32GB model on the iPhone 4. So, better value for the Thunderbolt. In terms of the data plan, on the Thunderbolt you have to pay $30 for unlimited data, and on the iPhone 4 you pay $25 for 2 gigabytes of data. Personally, I rather have the unlimited data for $5 more per month, so we're also going to give the points to the Thunderbolt here in terms of the data plan. Now, they both have a similar scenario when you want to tether. They have the $20 add-on that gives you about 2 gigabytes of data transfer when you tether, so sort of equal in that respect. Although, if you're in a 4G area, it's going to be a lot better to tether with the 4G Thunderbolt. You're going to get much faster speeds if you're tethering your laptop or your iPad or what have you. Okay, so let's talk about specs. What is inside of these phones? We'll talk about screen to start off. 4.3-inch diagonal screen with 800 down by 480 across resolution. The iPhone obviously has a smaller 3.5-inch screen, but with much higher resolution, 960 down by 640 across. If you look at this in terms of pixel density, the iPhone 4 is at about 326 ppi, whereas the Thunderbolt is at about 217 ppi. If you look at these screens side by side, which we're going to do in a few minutes, you'll notice that the iPhone 4 has a crisper screen. HTC is probably on the verge of bumping their screen resolution to QHD, which will bring it closer in line to the pixel density found on the iPhone 4. But right now, you're going to get a better picture. It's going to be easier to read ebooks on your iPhone 4 compared to the Thunderbolt. But that isn't to say that the Thunderbolt has a bad screen, because the screen is quite good on the Thunderbolt. Inside the Thunderbolt, we've got a 1 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. Inside the iPhone 4, we've got an A4 chip clocking at around 800 megahertz to 1 gigahertz. We're going to do some speed comparisons so you can really see which one is faster in day-to-day usage. The iPhone 4 has about 512 megabytes of RAM. The Thunderbolt one-ups the iPhone with 768 megabytes of RAM. Again, whether this matters in day-to-day operation, we're going to find out when we actually get into the devices and move through some web pages, load up some YouTube videos, and do things like that. Now, both of these devices have front-facing video cameras, and they also have, obviously, rear cameras. The camera on the back of the Thunderbolt is 8 megapixels with a dual LED flash, say that 10 times fast. And on the back of the iPhone 4, there's a 5 megapixel camera, which takes great pictures. I've already seen the samples of the Thunderbolt. Gotta say that the iPhone 4 has better imaging. We're going to turn on the front-facing cameras in a minute so you can tell if the front-facing camera is better on the iPhone 4 or the Thunderbolt. In terms of hardware, no comparison here. The iPhone 4 is a smaller device, it's lighter weight, and it feels higher quality thanks to the use of metal and glass. In terms of thickness, you'll notice that the Thunderbolt it looks almost 2 times thicker than the iPhone. So if you're concerned with size in your pocket and sort of how big the phone is in the hand, the iPhone 4 is definitely the winner in that department. Okay, so let's turn on these devices. We're going to flip on the front-facing video camera just so you can get a sense for how that looks. And we're going to go over to the camera application here on both. And we're going to flip this over to the front camera. Yep, you can see I haven't brushed my hair today, so let's go to, where are we? Over here it is, camera. All right, we're going to turn on the front-facing camera, and you can kind of compare kind of a yellowish glow on the Thunderbolt. And hey, here I am, and again I didn't brush my hair today, but it looks like actually the Thunderbolt has slightly better brightness here. You can actually see my face a little better there, a little bit dark on the iPhone 4. So we're going to say that the Thunderbolt's front-facing camera is a little bit higher quality than the iPhone 4. But of course, whether that matters to you is determined by whether you're going to use video chat when you use your smartphone. Okay, so let's now compare the web browsers. Obviously, very important. We're going to try to launch the web browsers at the same time and see which opens fastest. They're probably both going to be instant, to be honest, so they're both pretty much instant. The iPhone 4 looked a little bit slower because it has that animation, but really at the end of the day, they are pretty much the same speed in launching the web browser. Now we have no other open windows, so if we go here, you can see there's only one open window there. If we do a little pinch, you can see there's only one open window here on the Thunderbolt. And by the way, I like this gesture better to get to the tabbed view compared to the iPhone 4 where you have to go into this view and then you'll swipe side to side. Just not as intuitive, I think, on the iPhone. So let's go to a page that has lots of text, lots to scroll around with. We're going to go to Engadget here. And we're over the same Wi-Fi network. And by the way, we're going to talk about the cellular data speeds, which are extremely important when considering a phone. Let's try to launch this at the same time. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. And let's try to do this. Boom, there we go. Okay, a little bit unfair there because the Thunderbolt launched the mobile version and obviously finished first. So we're going to launch the desktop version and then compare it from there. Alright, and we're done. So let's kind of flick down the page and see what scrolling is like. We don't want to see any checkerboards. Let's go real quick on the iPhone. See if we get any checkerboards. No checkerboards. Okay, well we got a little bit at the end there. And with the Thunderbolt, not as smooth, a little bit choppy there to begin with, but actually after it caches, it becomes buttery smooth, as you can see here. We also get a nicer, fuller screen view on the Thunderbolt, as you can see. Here on the iPhone, we still have this bottom bar showing. We have a little notification strip at the top. The HTC Sense web browser, the web browser that HTC has kind of tweaked to make it a little bit better, is full screen, and it really looks awesome. Let's do a screen rotation speed test here. Okay, the Thunderbolt was faster. That was pretty much even. Let's try it one more time. Thunderbolt was faster there, and then it's interesting. Thunderbolt's faster going into landscape, but they're tied going into portrait. So let's go to the same story and try to click on a link at the same time. So we'll go to the top here. Let's check pinch to zoom. Pretty smooth on the Thunderbolt. Ultra smooth on the iPhone 4. Let's see which one gets there first. Go. And okay, Thunderbolt finished first there. Looks like the iPhone is up. There it goes, finished up. We'll move around the page and we'll click on something else. Okay, so we've got another link to try here. We're still on Engadget. Let's do this. Boom. And they're off at the same time. Let's see which ends first. Okay, so the Thunderbolt won again. So we're going to give the point to the Thunderbolt in terms of web browsing speed, sheer speed, although if you kind of want to look at sort of the smoothness of browsing the web, you really can't beat the iPhone 4. It is just buttery smooth. That isn't to say that the Thunderbolt isn't very smooth too, but there's just something about the iPhone's browsing experience that is unrivaled, and people that use the iPhone and after coming from another device really believe that. So in terms of sheer speed, the Thunderbolt wins here, but in terms of sort of the refinement of the browser and the smoothness, the iPhone 4 wins there. Now let's talk about bandwidth speeds, because obviously the Thunderbolt has 4G, and the iPhone 4 has 3G. So let's take a look at some tests that we've run on both of these. So if we go back here and we're looking at the little icons indicating data speeds, you can see that average speeds over AT&T's 3G network are pretty good. 1.7, 3.9, that was a good run. 2.9, 2.2, so about 2.5 megabits per second down on average. If you look at the upload speeds, we're at about 1.2 megabits per second down. So very strong there. Obviously not 4G speeds. if we look at the 4G speeds clocked on the Thunderbolt, they are 2 to 3 times greater. On average, getting 6 megabits per second down. You got to ignore these upload speeds because right now there's a flaw in the speedtest.net application. It's not benchmarking the LTE network just right. But we can look at the download speeds, getting 7 at times. There was even a run down here where we clocked 13, right there, 13 megabits per second down. That is a multiple of about 5 times faster than AT&T's 3G network. So if you're looking for the fastest phone when you're out and about and you want to get a fast internet connection, obviously the Thunderbolt is the phone that you want to get. So let's go back to the home screens and talk a little bit about the software. Now, iOS and Android has been compared at length. And just to recap that, iOS gives you screen after screen after screen of just icons, whereas on Android you get the option of at least having some widgets. So instead of having just icons, but you can have icons, you can go to a screen and you can add, say, a stream from your social network, bookmarks. I mean, what you can do with your home screens in Android is just so far greater than what you can do in iOS. So if you're looking for the utmost in versatility and being able to really make the home screen work for you, Android is definitely the way to go. And the Thunderbolt has the newest version of HTC Sense, or at least one of the newer versions. There's a lot of versions out there. And so you get a lot of new widgets, beautiful widgets that allow you to flick through your email, check your messages through this carousel. Really fancy stuff here. But of course on Android, if you don't want HTC Sense interface, you can download Launcher Pro. You can download ADW Launcher. You can really customize it and make it your own. On the iPhone, unless you're jailbreaking, what you see is what you get. Icon after icon after icon. Okay, so let's open up the YouTube application and just test how the playback is of some video. So we're going to find the YouTube applications. Okay, so here we are on the home screen of the YouTube app. I like how the Thunderbolt gives you more sort of choices here, whereas you only get 4 pictures or 4 thumbnails on the iPhone because you got this bottom bar and this massively thick top bar. Another problem with iOS is that the screen real estate isn't necessarily utilized in the best fashion. They could have shrunk this featured bar to about half the height and given you a lot more video choices here. But alas, let's move through and see what we have. Let's try to play the same video. So we're going to go to search here. So let's search for Pocketnow here. See what we get. Now that brings up another point. How about these on-screen keyboards? You can see side to side if we match them up sort of from the bottom of the screen up. The HTC Thunderbolt keyboard is significantly taller than the keyboard on the iPhone, which means if you have larger fingers, you're going to enjoy typing on the Thunderbolt more. Both have really good screen sensitivity, so that's not an issue. It's just a matter of the height of the keys. That said, there are a lot of people out there with big hands that use the iPhone and say that the keyboard is great for them. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we're going to press search here, see which finds results faster. Okay, so the Thunderbolt was faster. And we're getting the same results, which is perfect. So we're going to tap and see which plays the video first. We're going to jump this into landscape.
Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is the hardware.
Okay, so we got the Thunderbolt again loading the video first. Actually, significantly faster. Okay, this is too loud here. Is actually about 3 or 4 seconds faster in getting the video on the screen compared to the iPhone, which is quite impressive. In terms of playback quality, you really couldn't tell from there, from this particular angle, but they looked about the same. They both can do high-quality YouTube videos to take advantage of the higher resolution if people are uploading sort of near HD quality. So in terms of YouTube performance, it looks like the Thunderbolt does it a little bit better. It provides a better kind of display of the videos on the screen because it takes advantage of the full screen real estate here. It doesn't have a bottom bar, but it does have a thick top bar just like on the iPhone. So let's go back home. Now in terms of call quality, I've actually found the call quality on the Thunderbolt to be slightly better. It does this interesting effect where when you talk into the microphone, you hear yourself a little bit, which makes it easy to sort of hear what you're saying, especially if you're in a loud environment. Now, both of these devices have noise cancellation, so the iPhone 4 has a microphone down here and also up at the top. And the Thunderbolt also has a secondary mic up at the top, so if you're looking for a phone that will allow you to talk to people in loud environments, they'll both do a great job at that. And also, that isn't to say that the iPhone 4 has poor call quality, because it has really good call quality. In terms of speakerphone, the speakerphone on the iPhone 4 I found to be a little bit louder than the Thunderbolt. If you maximize the volume on the speakerphone on the Thunderbolt, it will distort, which is kind of gross. So the iPhone 4 wins in terms of speakerphone quality, but I'd say the Thunderbolt wins in terms of call quality. So you got to think about what is most important to you. So at the end of the day, there really is no clear winner here. It all depends on what you want. If you want a device with the big screen, the Thunderbolt's the one to go with. If you want a device that has a more refined web browsing experience, the iPhone's the one to go with. If you want to be able to get 4G LTE speeds, obviously you're only going to get that on the Thunderbolt right now. In fact, there are no other LTE phones that you can choose, although on Verizon there will soon be the Samsung Stealth and the LG Revolution, but right now the Thunderbolt is all that you get. If you want a slightly faster all-around device, the Thunderbolt's the one to get. As you saw, it loaded web pages faster, it loaded YouTube videos faster. Another advantage of the Thunderbolt that we didn't talk about is that it's really optimized for video viewing because it's got this cool kickstand on the back. So if you want to do that with the iPhone, you got to kind of tilt it like this on its flat edge, which is okay, and depending on where you're sitting, that may be perfect. But the Thunderbolt kind of provides a better viewing angle when you're watching videos or reading a book or what have you on your phone. So at the end of the day, it really matters what your personal preference is, what you're looking for. Hopefully this video was able to give you some insight into which one may be better for your needs. If you have any specific questions or you want to see something on video that we didn't show, please leave a comment below and we'll do our best to get back to you on that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. That's it for now.